Hi, Lauren, and welcome to your first feedback session. Um, this is looking cool. So I read your email about not having animated the face and your question about the run. We're going to look at that in detail. I think it's a cool idea. I like the idea of like, let's play it once, of that run and then a big punch, and the guy just get punched out into oblivion. You have some cool ref here. I do have some questions about that run. We're going to get into that. And then, of course, yeah, the transition needs to be ironed out here. I like that punch. I like this angle a lot. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if you're changing the camera. It feels like you are. Oh, yeah, I can see it now. You're changing the focal at this moment because everything's starting to shrink. So we need to find a solution to this because I do like this angle. So we'll see if we can find a solution to that because yeah, that camera change is kind of like jarring at the moment. Let's see. So I'll start with more general notes. This is still early, so I'm not gonna like go into very amazing details about the animation. But I want to talk about ideas, and I want to talk about more in general. So in general, so we have this guy, and he's running and then punching this other guy because you said you would like it to be a guy at the end to this building. So two things. We need to ask ourselves the questions. Why, what, who, when, those kind of things, every time we animate a shot. So what is this guy? Well, who, sorry, is this guy? What he's gonna run and punch that other guy. The question I need to have more answers to is why. So why is he running an S curve instead of, like, I know it's like a style thing that anime does, but that feels like a massive S curve. Even your S curve in your reference is like this. His is kind of like it's even going off screen. So that's kind of like the S curve. I think it's too much because it makes it look like he's on purpose slowing down. Where if you think about what his goal is at this moment when he lifts his head, it's like I see this dude and I'm gonna punch him. And so when you think that, you're like, I'm gonna run as fast as I can to that guy and punch him. And when you see him go this thing with no real obstacle, it makes it look like he's like, maybe I'll take a detour before and then I'll go punch him. So my first note would be after he sees, so maybe one idea would be to have, because there's another thing that I want to say is that we have this guy being punched at the end, but we don't know where he comes from. We don't know who he is. We don't know why he's being punched. I mean, we don't need to know everything right off the bat, but we need to kind of like see him before. So maybe this guy falls, and maybe right from the beginning, we get someone here. Sorry for my terrible drawings. Maybe we get someone here over the shoulder, even bigger than this if you want. Maybe it could be like just the head. Yeah, it probably works as well. Right off the bat. That way we know there's someone here. It could be a shadow. It doesn't need to be lit or anything. And then this guy comes in and he looks at him. He clocks the guy. And he's like, I'm going to punch that guy. And then before he leaves, before he starts running, this other dude here gets off screen this way. So now we have introduced the main characters, the two characters. Then this guy runs after him, I think he should be, if you still want the S curve, it's fine. I would make it way smaller, so that way you still get the style you want, and it would be closer to your reference anyway. So you would have him bang that way, and then kind of like run that way. Wait, sorry. This is just an indication. It's not an actual pose you will have. Let me see where my ghost is. More? There we go. So you'll have him here, and then here will be. I'm just drawing all the frames in one frame, but and then here it starts running this way. So one thing is, so I would say, wait, let me just put back my path. So that would be kind of like the idea of the path, and even that is pretty sharp, to be honest. It could use even smoother. I mean, I know you want that path, so that's why I'm drawing it. I think because it's for a style you want to do, but I think maybe a simpler thing of, if that were me, I would go this, and then I go a simple run, maybe with a tiny variation that way. But I'll go like this, and then this, and then this, rather than a too complicated path. But I do get why you want to do it. It's because you want that anime kind of funny run, like, well, not funny, but like special run they do. So in that case, try this one, like this path. See how it works. It will be closer to your ref. Make sure when you do this that his head is always toward the guy, because if not, it really makes him look like he's aiming at something else. So make sure he's always looking to where the guy is, the guy he wants to punch. Sorry, drinking tea. Always stay hydrated. So that's the main things for now. Like the first things that come to mind for me is giving meaning to your actions. Also very important, you can have the character kind of like cut off screen, body parts cut off screen for a couple frames, but don't have him go off screen completely, especially for so long. We want to keep seeing him until it does that big jump. Also, I know you haven't done that jump and punch kind of thing yet. Well, especially the jump. But we want to have more feet. We want to see more of this. I mean, not necessarily the whole time, but it will look like if you just show, because this is not as if you, let me rephrase. Sorry, I'm trying to put my thoughts. Either you frame it so you only see the top, and it's like I think we call that an American angle or whatever. Or you go and you show the whole body where the guy is. You see the feet, because if you cut at the knee, it looks like you're just avoiding to show contacts. It looks like you're like, I don't want to be dealing with the feet, so I'm just gonna cut them so we don't see them. So I'm sure you didn't do that for that, but that's what it would look like. Especially for a movement that is so complex with the legs, we need to see it basically. And we need to have a sense of where the ground is. Now, let's go back to that camera move, or camera focal change. I think this is going to look very odd. It does look a bit odd how everything just kind of like becomes small except him and distorted. It's just it just looks a little bit odd. So I would keep the normal camera. You can pan down. You can how do you say? You can, you know, if it's a cameraman, you can go backwards and then film the action to have a better angle at it a little bit. You have to think this is going to be a cameraman, right? It's a camera person um, because it's not a still camera. The camera moves. So if the camera moves, imagine what it would do if someone was operating it. So you would not change the focal. And if you want to do it to have that angle, do it at the very last minute, I guess. Like here. Transition from here, maybe here. So here you still have your, I don't know the numbers and focals. I'm not good with this, but I think I would assume that would be 35, I guess, before. I guess. And then you go somewhere like 10 or 15 here, I don't know. But anyway, you would have 35 until here, and then transition over 3 frames to 15 or 10, I don't know. So basically 2 or 3 frames of transition, whoosh, it would whoosh, and then it would be fine. Because right now everything falling like scaling down like this looks odd. And then you will be able to focus on his jump in the same camera without having to deal with focal changes. So that's what I would do. Then here again, I like this pose. I like the energy. Remember, we left this guy running for his life. Well, running at least. What he could be doing is being a. I know we're not doing it now, but be in a ready fighting pose, and then he gets punched his belly. Whoa. But yeah, we want him to be kind of like, whoops, that's going to be too big. In a fighting pose, right? This is like fighting in the 1900. This is my reference. Look at this. But yeah, you'll find a nice pose, and then he gets punched into oblivion. Also, well, you'll get to that later, but once he gets punched, get him out as soon as possible. We'll see that later. So this is for my general notes. My general notes being like, we always need to think about why we do stuff in animation. And as an audience, I want to understand what the character is doing and why he's doing it, because if not, it's hard for me to connect. And we always want connection between the audience and your shot, whoever the audience is. It can be a specialist audience or just your parents or whoever doesn't know animation. They should look at it and understand what's going on. Okay. Also, I would take out that camera move at the beginning because it doesn't make sense. Why is it moving? So all the way until 86. Keep the camera, do a keep alive on the camera. So again, we're a cameraman, camera person, camera woman. I don't know if that exists. You're aiming at the guy. You're not trying to move around when the guy is not moving. And then when the guy starts running, then you can follow with the camera. And also remember, the camera always follows, never anticipates. So if the guy is running, so that's an example. If the guy is here, let's say that's a tree for reference, and he starts running out this way, the camera will still be at the same, pretty much the same spot because it doesn't anticipate the movement. And then when the guy is off screen, then the camera can start following him going this way. Let's put a little house here. then the camera can start following because it's trying to follow the movement. And then in the next picture, it will be back to the guy. The house will be here because it will catch up to the guy. But it's always the guy that is going to be directing the camera movement, not the opposite. So never anticipate with the camera. All right. Yeah. So I think that's it for the general notes. So what I'm gonna do? Can I duplicate this? Oh, I should have done it somewhere. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. That's a shame because I wanted to do different notes without removing them. I don't think I can. Okay, that's okay. I'll just draw over. So let's see. Let's see what we can say about animation. So I know you haven't animated the face. What would be cool? It's always cool to have a single face pose that is going to be determining the mood of the character. Doesn't need to be super advanced, but something else than default. So finding a nice, I don't know what, you need to think about what his mood is, and then just have the pose. One pose. Just work a nice pose and keep it the whole time if you have to. Here in your fall, I like your reference, by the way. That's a cool reference. When you fall, and I think if you had fallen from higher, like he is, your arms would be up on the way down. Try also to find a more appealing pose. Maybe one leg is straighter than the other, anticipating the fall, and the arms are following like they're straight until he hits the ground. So the same here, maybe one leg is still catching up. It's basically the same kind of pose. Head is still up. And then here, and then you get a down pose where both arms are down, and then it goes back up into that pose that you have. Try to get more silhouette here. No, it's still early, but if we can get a better silhouette to understand what's going on a bit more. But yeah, basically the arms are dragging all the way here and then go back to that pose. I don't think you would fall with, because this looks very intentional. When you have your arm like this, it looks like he's thinking about it. And even in the superhero movies, when they want to hit that pose, they are not. It doesn't make sense to think about it while you're falling. Basically, you don't go like, I'm gonna be in that pose. So you fall first, and then on the way back, you're like, ugh, this is my cool pose. I like the timing of the head up. Obviously, when you get to it, you will need some more variation in how the rotation work and how the body needs to be affected. I don't want to give too many notes on this because I feel like you haven't gone to it yet, but basically you want the whole body to be moving. I know your shoulders are moving a bit, but right now they're moving at the same time. Also, if I remember correctly, let me see. Let me see something. Because I think I remember in your questionnaire that you said that you prefer to animate post to post, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me just double check that. Whoops. Post to post, step tangents, the 2D way. That's why you told me you would like to work. You prefer working in, but this is whoops, some scene sketch weirdness. This is not in step. This is in splines, right? So if you are uh, more confident in 2D, I was going to suggest 2D. Sorry, in stepped. I was going to suggest working this shot in stepped because it will help you to have a solid base in stepped, especially since there's so many contacts here. A run is always kind of like better to figure out in steps. So what I would do, this is a good idea pass, okay? This pass that you've done, this is good to share your idea and have a first really rough blocking. What I would do is go back to it again, and from this moment on, just have storytelling poses, okay? So I don't want to see breakdowns. I mean, if I understood that that's the way you like to work, right? Pose to pose. That means we need to have a first pass that has just storytelling poses, meaning, as you remember, only poses that tell the story, and without them, we don't understand the story. So, but at the same time, you don't want to put poses that you can easily take out. So, for example, this is, you probably know this already, but I'll just do it anyway because I like to repeat myself. But like, so we have this guy like this, and then let's pose A. Whoops, a little bit too big of a smile. Let's pose B. So those are the storytelling poses, right? Because he's in this emotion and then he goes to that emotion. We can't lose any of those two poses because we don't understand the story. But the in between those two poses, actually that would be C, I guess. Let's say the antic to this where so this is arms. The antic where he's like getting the transition, this is exaggerated, of course, between those two. This is a nice pose and it's going to make the animation nice. We don't need it. It's a transition, it's a breakdown. It's not an antic, it's a breakdown between those two poses that we don't need. If I take this, whoops. If I take this pose and this pose, I understand he's neutral and then it becomes happy. If I take this out entirely, I still have the same story, okay? So that's going to be the same for your animation. You want to put the poses that if you take them out, the story doesn't make sense. But no more than that. You just want to put those that are essential. So for example, this would not be a storytelling pose. The storytelling pose would be, well, I guess it could be because it's a down pose. Oh, sorry, I thought I could redo it. Oh, okay. Sorry, I erased it. But basically, the contact, okay, is storytelling. Maybe one of those, just to show that he's coming from above, one of those like this is storytelling. then the contact, and then the superhero pose, and then the head lifted. Those are a storytelling pose. The transition between this and this is not a storytelling moment. Then after that, you will need an antic down before the run because he's gathering his energy, right? Gathering his energy, and then you can go into the run. And then I want you to block the run, meaning put the contacts in. So the contacts will be the moment where, I mean, he's running, so this would be a contact, like, you know, like you have. If it was a walk, both feet would be on the ground. So I want you to block all those contacts so that you know exactly how much space it's going to take him to run. Because right now, if you look at his foot, is sliding, which means that, as you were saying in your email, he's not taking the amount of steps he should be taking. So you should decide that. You should decide that at the blocking stage. At the blocking stage, you should go like, okay, so this is going to be the first contact. Then I'm going to calculate how much he needs, and this is going to be the, so this is reverse, the second contact, and then etc. until you have all your contacts and the path. Don't worry about transition between contacts, just worry about the contacts. Maybe you can have the up, because the up is going to be between contacts and just to dictate your run. You can have the up if you want, but I would just focus on contacts for now. And each of your poses that you're going to do, just spend a lot of time on them. Make sure that they're really storytelling. So in your reference, I have a question actually. I mean, more of a something I wonder. You have very straight arms, and I'm trying not to be rude. I don't know if this is your way of running personally, or if this is a style you want to give the character. If I'm gonna go with the second one. I think you're trying to give a style to the character. Sorry if that's your way of running, and I really don't mean it to judge. I would imagine there's a bit more bend going on, but I think that's the style you're trying to give. If you want to do that, that's okay. But look at your chest. The chest is way up. So make sure your poses are saying what you want them to say. Right now, it feels like he's crunched the whole time, and it kind of hurts his back right now. So make sure you have a nice running pose that you've spent time on your contact. So once you have all your contacts, you have changed the camera, you don't have that focus change, then you can do a big jump. Same for the jump. We're looking for storytelling poses. So sorry, that should be in that frame, but probably I'm gonna draw it here. A moment where he gathers energy, so some sort of antic, then a big jump pose. We need this one because it's storytelling, right? We need this nice pose. So I don't know, find something that would be a good, maybe he's preparing his fist in the air. I can't draw, I'm sorry. I can just do it a little bit. Nice silhouette. I want you to get a nice silhouette. Basically, you want to prepare and spend some time in that pose to make it as nice as possible. And then you want to have the contact. Arm still ready. I'm not sure how you can do that, but like you will figure it out basically. I can't draw it basically, but he's preparing for this big hit. He contacts the ground. Then this is following here. And then let's do it. So see, he's getting ready. Make sure that this looks like he's floating. Just make sure that it's a proper pose that he's jumping in. Then you'll need the contact like I draw it, or maybe this contact may be better than the one I drew. And then this punch. Maybe you can also get a little bit better silhouette here. I like the line of action though. His head, keep the head this way. Right now the head is kind of turned the other way. Also, I don't know what's going on here. There's a dent here on his bum. I'm not sure if it's just overstretched, but it looks like it's missing a part of his body. Maybe it's just the camera is too much. And then here maybe more heel, the heel a bit more. And then silhouette, half the knee here. Something like that. And then you have all your poses basically. So I don't know, let me see. I don't know how many poses you have running, but yeah, this is a pose. This is a pose. And one. This pose. So yeah, you'll have like maybe 15 poses, a bit more with your run. Now that I think of it, I wonder if you can go a bit even more. Let me see. To follow the curve here. So bodies this way. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So next step would be cleaning the camera, the way I said, adding the little story bits that we want to make sure that we understand what's going on, adding the first guy, it needs to be blocked too, at least at the beginning for a few frames just so we see him. And then when we need this instant where they are both looking at each other here, and he's here, and he's like, I'm out. And then the other guy is like, I'm going to chase you and punch you. We don't know what they're punching. We don't know why the other guy would wait for him, but that's okay. At least if you make time to show that they're seeing each other, that's fine. Because then it still looks a little bit gratuitous, that punch. Like a little bit like no reason why he would punch him, but at least you know he's there. So if it's like an action scene, we know the guy's here. Ideally, what we would want, and that's just more for a movie mindset, we would like to have a reason why he's punching him. So essentially, we would need to see that main first guy, maybe in another shot, be mean to him or like do something that would justify being punched and take his cat or something. But that's okay. That's just an action shot you're doing, so it's okay. So yeah, cleaning up the camera, make sure the character has a believable running path, and block out as much as you can the storytelling poses of that run and of the whole shot. And then yeah, hopefully that helps. Let me know if you need me again. I'll be happy to see that again and look at it further. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.